Howard Wallack is the Director of Global Member Programs at the Society for Human Resource Management in the United States. He spoke with us about global HR trends. What are some of the major global HR trends?
At my organization, SHRM, our Global Expertise Panel has identified multiple global HR trends, but three at the top of our list are globalization, and in that, what are the drivers? Does HR as well as line managers and people up and down in organization structure really understand what globalization is, what its drivers are, and how it affects their operations? The second is talent management, and that particularly around the world because of demographics as well as because of competitive markets. While Canada and the US have higher unemployment and lower growth right now, other parts of the world have very high growth and competition for talent. And so you have to understand the whole talent equation in a global scale. The third is managing virtual and remote teams. As companies increase the number of locations where they operate, whether that's manufacturing or sales or service, people are working across borders, across time zones, and across functions. And to be more effective globally, people need some guidance and some training in how to do that most effectively.
How can HR manage these trends effectively?
I would recommend that HR practitioners become themselves advocates and knowledge banks about globalization. They have to be as knowledgeable about globalization as their CEOs. I think another thing that HR needs to do is, in that process, is really understanding the complexity of drivers of globalization that affect business operations. So finance, technology, transportation, and migration. Both, and I would say transport of goods and services, but transport of people and global mobility as well. They need to understand the complexity and the interrelatedness of all of those. Another way to handle this is to really look at developing global competencies. And there are quite a few different definitions of what the needed competencies are for international business, but the Lominger architect from Korn Ferry a few years ago updated its international focus area and identifies 7, and I hope I get them all. But the first is global business acumen. People have to understand how businesses operate across borders as well as across industries, and they have to understand supply chain as well as customer and service from end to end. But after global business acumen, there's cross-cultural skills, but specifically cross-cultural sensitivity, cross-cultural resourcefulness, and cross-cultural agility. And the three of those actually mean different things. One's about knowing that there's differences. The other is knowing when to use those differences for business and personal advantage. And the third is the ability to use them timely to reach corporate and business goals. The other global competencies are humility, particularly in Asia, and managing global and remote teams. And so all of these are skills that can be developed. One of the ways that HR practitioners can do this to contribute to international operations is developing a global leadership program and developing the talent pipeline. Global talent management needs to be linked to the total corporate talent management strategy and practices.